for reference of anyone watching the video right now, I'm using Pandora Radio, and what I'm listening to at the beginning, I'm listening to Nathan Pacheco Radio on Pandora. Nathan Pacheco is an excellent artist. Today I wanted to kind of shift gears, and I wanted to listen to some spiritual music while I was lifting. I think it's something that everyone needs to realize, is that first of all, you don't need music in the first place while you're working out, and second of all, it does not have to be super high energy music. A lot of times it's a good test of your own motivation. If you want to know how motivated you are to work out, do it with either without music or do it with music that's not super high energy but that's still meaningful, and see if you can still pull yourself through the workout. Anyway, so today I wanted to share some thoughts. Also, sorry, the end of the workout, there's one song in particular I want everyone to pay attention to. It's called Free My Soul, and it's from this album that's basically like the recurring album of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's called Strive to Be, and this song is called Free My Soul, and you'll hear it at the end. It's kind of the louder one, and you'll hear some of the words there. It's one of my favorite songs ever. So anyway, back to what I was going to say. Today I wanted to share some thoughts about basically how to determine your worth. I think it's important that everyone does this, and I think everyone should be realistic with themselves. And I don't believe in the thing that obviously we're all worth something, right? There's no one that's worthless, but it's also what's the word? Maybe it's dishonest of us to assume that everyone has such great worth, I guess, without having first done some things to prove that worth, if that makes sense. So, for example, my example I look to is Kanye West. Kanye West is an inspiration of mine. The thing, though, is that I can't say whether or not he's a good person or a bad person. I can only judge him by what he's done and what's observable to me as a fan, or as a random person, spectator, who knows. But basically, Kanye West is someone that has been influential, maybe one of the most influential people of the generation. And he's produced not only music, he's produced fashion design. He's also boosted different industries and different companies' net worth, or I guess, or like their what is it? Anyway, basically their profit margin always increases when they do business deals with Kanye West. Hyper creative, hyper driven, very successful. He's now a billionaire. At one point a few years ago, he was $50-something million in debt, and he turned it around and now is a billionaire. So when I look at Kanye, I assume that he has more worth when it comes to a societal factor. He comes at a higher price than the average person, obviously. That price, just for numbers' sake, let's say that he's worth $1 billion. Basically saying, like, how much money would it take to replace all the positive and everything that Kanye brings to society, basically. If you're to take someone like me and take me out of my position and compensate my absence with an amount of money, I can confidently say that I am worth about $100,000. That goes, what that factors into, or what factors into that, is the time I've spent in education, the time I have been under my parents' care. They've poured a lot of money and resources into me, which kind of inherently increases my worth, I guess, because someone's paying money for it, for my development. Me, myself, putting work in the gym or whatever, having served the mission. Let's just say that all the things I've done have accumulated a worth of maybe $100,000, which is not much compared to how much wealth is available in the world. What I think everyone needs to do is determine how much money are you worth. And I say money because that's the easiest one for us to equate, but really, how much are you worth in your own right? And the goal should be to double and triple and quadruple your value by the end of your life. And hopefully you can pass some of that worth and value, which is embodied in values and principles. Teach those to your kids, teach those to people around you, and hopefully you'll increase the value of life in America, life in the United States, or life in the world. And anyway, that's just like a random thought. Sometimes people tell me that I think too abstractly, or I think too outside of the box, but I think it's important that we all determine what our worth is. And if you're not being productive, if you're not bringing something to the table, it's a sad reality or unfortunate reality, but you're not worth as much as other people are. But it doesn't mean that you can't change it. Of course you can change it, and you can actually become worth more than other people. So anyway, back to the workout. If you wanted to actually get some tips and pointers or whatever that you that I can offer, I would just say, like, you can tell from the last couple videos to this video, I'm having problems with my alignment or my balance. You can tell that the bar is leaning to the left. My whole frame, my body is kind of leaning to the left, and today I think I might have identified one reason why that is. I think my right hip, well, I think my hip flexors in general, but my right hip flexor, as in like the top of my quad muscle connecting my hip to my leg, I think that muscle is getting weak. And so towards the end of the squat session, you'll see me kind of doing some I don't know what to call it, knee pumps. I'm just basically like, because basically, as far as I understand, your hip flexor is engaged and activated when your knee goes past your hip level, and in the few inches around your hip level and above is where your hip flexors are like supremely activated, if that makes sense. That's the prime range of motion for only your hip flexors. And so I could feel a little bit of a pull in my hip flexors, and I could tell that they're kind of getting weak, or that they have been weak. And so I started like I kind of gave it a little pump just to see how it felt. I think that because my right hip flexor is kind of suffering, that my body is leaning away from it to put more weight on the other one that's stronger, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I'm getting close to my top set. Today I think I hit 235 for 1 or 2 reps, and I called it, because normally I try and do 5 sets with my top set, or my top weight, but today I felt like I should focus more on my lower back. Like right there, I could feel like it was not working out. I haven't done good mornings in a while, so as soon as I'm done with this, I go over to good mornings. Good mornings are what I call them, or I guess I call them hyper extensions. I've heard people call it good mornings. I call it both, but basically you put the bar on your back, stand kind of straight-legged, but with your knees soft, kind of not locked out, and you lean forward until your chest is almost parallel with the ground, and you stand back up. And what this does is it mimics the motion at the bottom of the squat when you're standing up with a weight and your body starts to fold forward. It's basically building up that counter resistance to be able to keep your body upright while you're squatting. And so that's what I did after the squat, and then that was basically it for the workout. Anyway, so I want everyone to think about that. Again, what I said about worth. How much are you worth? And don't be afraid to be brutally honest with yourself. You could be very close to worthless, and who knows, like, but you could also identify easily, probably you can identify exactly what factors of what you bring to the table could be improved. And if you do that and improve those, then your value will increase. The thing is that too often we think about worth in terms of money. And as far as I understand, I'm not any expert by any means, but as far as I understand, money is kind of a universal, or like, I don't know how to explain it. It's an abstract concept where money represents the sum total of materials, of resources such as like time and energy, and it represents human work. It represents all these things, every single commodity, something that someone could desire in order to accumulate more societal status. Money was invented to kind of represent all of that all in one. And so people wonder why inflation is a thing. Basically, as far as I understand, is that money is only compared directly, it's like directly proportional to the goods and services and time and effort and all these things that are available to people in the marketplace. And so when there's an issue with availability of any of those commodities is when the price of those things goes up, and so money, the worth of money decreases. And people think, like, why not just print more money? It's like, it's not the money that's the problem, it's the resources and everything that money represents. So someone that has a lot of money, the reason why it's considered wealth to have a lot of money is because it's kind of directly proportional to, like, oh, they can, if they trade their money in, they can acquire like a multitude of resources, more than most people can. But what's going to happen though is that with inflation, which is already on the rise and it's only going to get worse, When hyperinflation starts to occur is when money becomes worthless, and the people that have the goods, have the resources, have the skills. If you yourself like can produce and be creative, you're worth more money than most people are. And so at that time is when people will come looking for you if you have worth. That's why I'm saying you just got to figure out how much you're worth and increase it right now, because money won't be worth anything in the near future. So that's it for me. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a good one, and see you later.